Hello guys, and welcome back to another video, and we're going to continue designing the layout here. So I actually went this morning and I changed some things up on the layout, and what I was running into was I just simply did not have enough room here in order to incorporate the layover tracks or the holding tracks, this small little train yard. And let me pull it up here, this area right in here. So I just didn't have enough room to do that. So I was able to pretty much incorporate everything in to the layout. I did have to drop one of the tracks. Reason was just because I simply just did not have enough room from as far as the actual width of the shelf layout. I've only got 18 inches, I think it is, off the wall. Yeah, 18 inches. So yeah, I did have to drop one of the tracks, but I was able to keep this passing siding, this back track here, this passing siding. I was able to keep it in. I'm going to be able to model it, I think. And so if we look back at Google Maps, we can, Google Earth, we can see that I was able to incorporate this Y in like I had talked about. So I was able to keep that, and even able to add these little holding tracks here. And as you can see, the passing siding comes back in and merges back in with the main line after it gets beyond the Y. So I was able to pretty much somewhat simulate that right here. So this right here is actually be the passing siding, what I'm highlighting. So I did have to take some artistic liberty, if you will, and put a couple of turnouts in here in order to to be able to use the helix. I moved the helix to the end of the peninsula. I just didn't have enough room over here, like I said. I still may take, I don't know about this right here, I may straighten this out a little bit and just run the edge of the table or the edge of the bench work like that. I don't know yet. I like the idea of being able to see that that radius, the radii there for the tracks, and that's definitely an industrial setting over there. So I'll be able to, model this stuff here. So I'll probably end up leaving it. I was also able to get this little spur track in right here. You can see right here. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to model. This is sitting back off the railroad right away quite a bit, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe I can move the backdrop a little bit. But the main line will continue to roll around the peninsula here. Now I'll probably end up doing, if you guys have watched any of the videos for the Alvaville Railroad, the freelance railroad that I'd started on, you saw where I'd created like these sheared rock walls, if you will. I'll probably end up doing that around here in order to hide the helix for the first level. And I know that's not part of the that's not prototypical for this segment of railroad, but I mean, it is what it is. I've got to be able to get up to the second level. So anyway, the main line comes around through here. Now what I did do is, instead of just turning the main line and coming through here like this, I wanted to give it a little bit more length. So what I did is I'm punching through the backdrop here. All this is lower track. So you can see I've got just some preliminary elevations written in here. Zero, the elevation of 0 is going to be at the framework level or the bench work level. And as you can see, I'm thinking here, okay, maybe about 8 inches above, keep everything about 8 inches above, and keep all this stuff above the hidden track. So if we roll in here, you can see my tunnel portals here. So all this would be hidden track, and this would all be on a 0 elevation underneath. So basically what you have is you've got about 8 inches, and then you'll start to descend a little bit in elevation down to about 4 inches, and continue to descend down to 0, probably hitting 0 about in here. And well, I started to figure it out. Let's see. So if I go that far with that much, this is the thing about the CAD is, and you know, I've had some comments from people about it's easier to use all these, you know, CAD rails and easy CAD rail or whatever it's called. You know, they're great if you just want to, you know, put some track together. But if you're really trying to get in here and engineer something, especially something as critical as this, you know, the AutoCAD is definitely the tool to use. So anyway, what I've done here is I've drawn a polyline, and it gives me a length here, 6.86 feet. So, you know, if we go, well, I'd already figured it up here, but if we take that 6.86 and multiply that times a 2.5% grade, which is going to be 0.025. Now that's in tenths. I can convert that to inches by just simply dividing that by 0.083. So about 2 inches. So I'll have about 2 inches of drop from here to here. Okay, so if we're at 4 inches, that's going to drop me down 2 inches. That's going to put me at about 2 inches right here. So that should still be, that gives me 6 inches from you know, the top of this hidden track to the bottom of the main line and the passing siding. So that's 6 inches. So that should be clear. Should be clearly enough. I could probably drop this down a little bit more, and I might maybe drop it down to about, I don't know, maybe even 6. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out some things here. But yeah, so eventually getting down to 0 elevation, and then, you know, this will all be, in my mind anyway, what I'm seeing is just, you know, kind of some mountainsides here or something, just something to kind of hide, punch out through here and go underneath. Again, this is 0 elevation here. Continue on with the main line and roll back around and loop back around again. So one of the things I've done here is I figured out my total length for the main line. So we've got about 80.76. Now we will be, I need to subtract that about 9.8 from that, because that's all that's going to be hidden, so I can't really use that. So if we have 80.78, so 80.78 minus what was it, 9.8, something like that. So we've got about 71 feet we can actually model. So if we take 71 and multiply that times 87, that gives me 6177. Divide that by 5,280. It's about one, we'll round up and say 1.2 miles. So for the upper level, probably about the same. So we're looking at about 2.4 miles. So if we come back in here and look again, what I'm wanting to do now is to see if from the last video, if you remembered, I said I really didn't want to go above 60% on the compression ratio. So so let's throw in our formula here. Let's take the scaled miles, which is going to be 2.4. Got this number right here is what the SM, the scaled miles. So we've got 2.4. We're going to divide that by 1 minus the compression ratio that I want, which is 60%, which will be 0.6. So 1 minus 0.6. So that's about 6 miles. So if you remember, I said I wanted to model about 10 miles, right? So if we come back in here and look at Google Maps, excuse me, I don't know why I keep on calling that Google Maps, Google Earth, we can see here a lot of this area in here I can actually drop completely, or just, you know, compress a whole lot. So I'm thinking that I'll probably still be able to get up to, you know, the area that I wanted to kind of stop at. I wanted to get this rock quarry and everything, and just kind of stop up in here. So I think I'll still be able to do that. Like I said, you know, with all this area in here, I'll be able to get rid of some of that. Yeah, that would be nice to model right there. I'd like to keep that. Yeah, maybe that right there. So yeah. So now what I need to do now is, if you remember from a couple of videos back, I talked about scenes a little bit. So now what I need to do is figure out how I can allocate that's, kind of break that 6 scaled miles up and incorporate the different scenes that I want to get. If you remember, I drew like line segments, and if you totaled up those line segments, it's going to equal the 6 miles. So what I'm going to do now, well, in the next video, is I'm going to break up that 6 miles and create the the scenes that I actually want to model. I've already got this down here, so we've already done that part. So that's what we'll do in the next video, and just wanted to bring you guys up to date and show you where I'm at, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.